Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Raptor X here with Good Clean Gaming RX, and today we're going to go over the Eco 9.5 update. So as you can see, that update has been released, and I'm going to go over some of the different changes and improvements that they have made. So, dear Eco citizens, it's been a while, but after 2 months of extensive playtesting with our community, thank you so much everyone, Update 9.5 is ready to be released. Next, to countless bug fixes and balance changes, we have several content additions to the game for builders and decorators, and lots of improvements for the focus of this update, the user experience. Let's get into the major changes right away. So, something we're very excited about, the new store UI. In Update 9.5, we gave the store a completely redesigned user interface that splits the items for sale and the items wanted on two sides, with a detail panel for the currently selected item in the middle. The appearance of the items has been changed into a much nicer card form that displays the most relevant information about it at a glance. On the bottom of the store, you'll find the shopping cart that shows an overview of the items you have chosen to sell or buy, and the button to make the trade, right here. In the view for the shop owner, you are able to easily add and remove your items, create and name categories, and sort items into those via simple drag and drop. So you can set up simple different categories here. For instance, you could have skill scrolls, food, building materials, whatever, and just drag those in, drag and drop. Very, very easy to use there. So I'm very excited about that. That's going to make shopping a much easier experience. And being able to set all this stuff up very easily and browse and find stuff that you want to buy, that's going to change the game right there. Improved chat. Another important milestone we achieved with Update 9.5 is addressing a lot of the feedback we have received about our chat in the past, fixing many of the issues it had and giving a completely new appearance. So, as you can see, the new chat is now tabulator based. That means you're able to create your own tabs and specify exactly which sources of chat you want to be shown in that tab. When creating a tab, you can choose from notification sources that Eco provides or any channels created by players that you have access to. So for instance, if I wanted to create a channel here for streamers, or for when I'm streaming or recording a video, and only put in people that I trust, we could do that and only allow certain people to access that channel and chat back and forwards with me. So yes, you heard it right. You can create your own channels and define managers and users for it, just as you are used to from many other parts of the game. This allows you to flexibly build your own chat views and have your own chat channels with only those people participating that you want to do. We also have put a focus on accessibility, so you can flexibly change transparency and font size of the chat in the game's settings menu, or activate Zen mode for those times when you simply need a bit of silence. So that'd be another option if I just need it to be quiet because I'm recording. We can do that, and it just disappears. Newsfeed. So they've put a newsfeed up at the top, and this will just kind of go transparent when there's not really anything interesting happening. And so this is just kind of all the things that you generally don't really need to know about. If they're selling something or crafting something, whatever, those are all kind of show up in the news feed now. Can be resized and moved and all that kind of stuff. Storage management. Now this is one that we've all been waiting for a long time. Really, really excited about this one. They've added the ability, another long-awaited improvement has found its way to Eco. You can now set input and output for machines separately in the storage chat tab. Take a look. So, say for instance I am using my blast furnace, and I want to be able to input from a stack down at the bottom, and I want to output to the top. I can tell it, nope, you only want to pull from this one down here at the bottom, and you only want to output to this one up at the top. Now, I don't think that means that we can sort and only do certain things in there, like for instance put tailings down in one, like the bottom one, and then have all of the iron concentrate up in the top. We'll have to see. I don't think that's going to be a way to do it, but we'll check that. That's not all though. We've also added a way for you to search in basically every storage UI and allow you to sort items with a single click. So you can sort and filter by name right here in the search box. Lockable tooltips. Addressing some common feedback, we have reworked the behavior of the tooltips in Ego. In order to make a tooltip stick, you now need to hover over the tooltip and stay focused on it with your mouse for at least 1 second, the time being configurable in the settings menu. The tooltip will display an animation around its border to show that the lock time is running and will signal when the tooltip is locked. Alternatively, you can also press the control button to instantly lock in a tooltip. Right, so that'll be very nice. You don't have stuff constantly disappearing. You just hover over it for a second and it'll lock that up and you don't have to worry about it disappearing. In addition, tooltips are now cached on both client and server and use less resources to load. Tech Tree Visualizer. So, inspired by some of the community creations we've seen, we have added a Tech Tree Visualizer to the game that sorts the specialties into our tier system and displays dependency in an easily understandable way. So basically, if you want to go, okay, so I've got basic engineering, I want to get pottery. Pottery is going to be dependent on basic engineering, and I believe it's probably geology, masonry or something like that, mining. So it's going to tell you which ones it's dependent on, which ones you're going to need to actually research it, and which ones they actually lead into. So that's going to be very, very powerful for people who are new to the game, or just people who are returning to the game and want to go, okay, so what do I actually need to be able to do mechanics, or so on and so forth. New objects and building forms. Several new furniture items: hewn dresser, hewn nightstand, lumber dresser, softwood lumber dresser, hardwood lumber dresser, upholstered chair, upholstered couch, nylon futon bed, nylon futon couch, small bath mat, large bath mat, towel rack, wool curtain, nylon curtain, cotton curtain, cast iron bed, steel abstract fixture, steel hanging lamp, steel kitchen lamp, steel searchlight, steel square fixture, wood kitchen lamp, 3 new building forms for framed glass, 14 new building forms for brick, a new crab pot object that works like a fish trap, but it's for catching crabs, some balance changes. So minimum distance between trees when planting them in accordance to the distance used at world generation is now 5 blocks. Example, empty blocks between trees for empty. This is configurable in the egosim.eco value. Values below 3 are not recommended due to tree farmers being able to cause severe client lag. So, they've basically set up now where you can't do the tree farms all, right next to each other. You've got to have 4 empty blocks in between. So that's gonna change some things a little bit. Tree farms are going to be a lot more spread out, and I'm sure that's going to mean that then the people growing them are going to need a lot more land. So there's going to be a little bit more of a market for those for the land claim papers. Excavator, skid steer, and steam tractor now all require calories to operate, which I can see the need for that. As balance, you didn't spend any calories when you were using any of those before, so that's a good thing. For the cooks at least, because once you got to that point, there really was not any need for eating a whole lot of anything. Motor vehicles can no longer be used underwater, as you'd expect. Increased default player experience required to gain a new star by 25%. So that's going to slow down skill gain a little bit. Calorie reduction for leveling up skilled labor reduced by 20 to 50% from 50 to 80%. So when you level up your skill that you've got, the labor that outputs, the calorie reduction is 20 to 50% now, not 50 to 80%. Labor costs for most recipes requiring skilled labor are reduced by 30%, so that's to help kind of balance those out a little bit. Increased labor costs for most food recipes. Food tastiness feature is now enabled by default. Major rebalance of food nutrients and calories to make it harder to get a perfectly balanced diet and to encourage more variety. The icebox and the refrigerator can now only store food, but can store a significantly larger amount. I like that quite a bit. Added a new recipe for bean sprout. They are now crafted in a farmer's table instead of a random drop from beans. Removed the greens tag from bean sprouts. Reduced cost of heart of palm. In all food recipes, they appear to 2 from 8. Okay, so it only costs 2 heart of palm instead of 8. There are a lot of changes here, so I'm just going to scroll through the rest of them. An interesting one that I saw some comments on was this render fat. and that biodiesel now requires a new ingredient, ethanol, which is crafted by Cutting Edge Cooking. So finally the Cutting Edge Cooking people actually have something to do. Unfortunately, it's just make biodiesel, which can already be made with, or not biodiesel, but normal diesel, and gasoline can already be made with petroleum and the oil drilling skills. So we'll have to see how that goes. The render fat is also not getting as much of a byproduct from cooking like raw sausages and raw roast and all that kind of stuff for campfire cooking. So there's going to be a little bit of a shake up there. Paper milling, different upgrades. The mining basic upgrade is now made at a rocker box, and they've increased the masonry mortar. That would be the one that's made out of sand. Cost increased to 25 from 15. So they've also added some various different things for the mod kits and for people who are doing modding. They've done some optimization for chunk rendering and all that kind of stuff. All good things here. I'm hoping that that's going to improve stuff quite a bit. New visual effects. So they've got a firefly insect now that comes out at night. Different harvest effects when harvesting with a shovel and with a steam tractor. Added harvest effects for underwater plants, urchins, and clams. So basically the same as like when you're harvesting tomatoes or berries or something, like how they kind of pop off the plant and come towards you. Those have been added now so that there's a little bit of an effect there. Updated harvest animations for a large variety of plants. They've also added a new splash effect when jumping into the water. And apparently we can now sit in our bathtubs. So I don't know if that was usable before or not, but you can now get into your bathtub. Various different bug fixes for audio and for the different avatar. Added some things and fixed some things for civics. I'll just kind of leave these up so that you guys can see this. Some graphics. Glass blocks now refract light. So that'll be interesting. That's something that you actually have to turn on in the settings. Added sunrise and sunset colors to volumetric light, so we can actually see a little bit of a light color change during sunrise and sunset. Various different bloom strength. Main menu changes. The meteor will now destroy different objects and buildings. They've added some sound to the destruction of the meteor. Let's see here. Where was that in? Crafting, civics, avatar, audio. Added sound effects for shooting down the meteor sequence. So it's not just this silent kind of thing, it's actually going to make some noise and some interesting stuff there, so that'll be fun. Main menu, meteor, minimap, they've improved some things here. They've made a pop-up tooltip now over the animal instead of in the little menu up at the top. So you'll be able to see the damage over the animal instead. Tutorial, they've added some updates on that as well. Various different vehicle improvements so that you don't get stuck in the land or get teleported up to the surface if you're in a narrow corridor with a vehicle. Various different fixes for the crane and hand plow, that kind of stuff. They've done a lot of changes with the UI, so I'm going to get into that here in a moment. We'll actually load into a world and do some stuff with that. They fixed some different things with world objects. The plant species are all now supposed to fit inside pots. Computer lab would sometimes report that there's not enough power to power the lasers when there was adequate power, so they've fixed that. Lots of different miscellaneous things here. So you guys are free to, of course, pause and read through these. I'm going to go ahead and load up into Eco. And of course you'll notice this is loading significantly faster than it normally does, and that's because I have my new computer now. So for those of you who are on my Discord server, I've got some pictures up of the new case, and we'll kind of keep an eye on this and see what all the changes are and how it all affects everything. But yes, I'm really liking the added performance. It's blazing fast for downloading things and installing stuff. You know, downloading and installing Eco went from a download and install of like 5 minutes to like 1. It was very, very fast. So yes, very much liking that, and just the raw power and speed now that I have at my fingertips. So I have yet to actually try out Star Citizen, because I'm still waiting on that to download all the way, so we can looks like we can open this kind of stuff up, look at world layers, environment data, all that kind of things, property. These are all just part of the tutorial now, so I'm just going to close out of all of this. Yep, we'll skip that one. We'll skip that one because we know how to do all of this. Yeah, okay, I'm just going to skip all of these because we know all the tutorials. Okay, so one big change that I noticed right off, the tool bench is now crafted inside the campsite instead of at the workbench. And they've changed well, actually all of the graphical stuff. The little tags and everything, the little icons, those are all changed. I've got the UI turned up a little bit so that I can see that much easier. I'm going to go ahead and change that just a little bit here because that one is quite high. Let's see, interface scale, there we go. We'll go ahead and scale that down just a tad. There we go, and try that out. There we go. That's a little bit better. Very good. So yeah, they've changed all that. They've also added and changed the different icons, so that they've kind of been updated a little bit. It just looks a little bit more modern. They've changed, like, all of these icons are new, so that's definitely a change there. Quite a welcome one. The difference there, they look newer, and a little bit more. I don't know, a little bit more visually pleasing, shall we say. I like the fact that the buttons are much bigger. I can actually get to see them and do stuff without having to super zoom everything in. Let's see here, crafting. I need a couple more wood logs here to be able to finish up my building this chest. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll get a little bit of this. That's kind of strange. There we go. Get a little bit of this wrapped up here. There we go. And we're all out of space here. I'm going to go ahead and have a little bit of charred fish and some charred tomatoes. Let's see what chat is saying here. I'm going to go ahead and move this up just a bit. There we go. And we'll kind of scroll this over a little bit. There we go. List of available channels. Very nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually bring this out so that you guys can see it. So as you can see, when I go over this, it kind of, the background kind of appears and disappears. Over that, I can create a new tab here, adding different channels and notifications to it, and we can name it and all that kind of stuff. And then let's see here, it titles the eco log panel. There we go. So that tells me, whether I'm, how I'm actually liking. That was kind of strange. There we go. Whether I'm actually liking the charred fish or the charred tomatoes. So it doesn't look like I'm liking those. I'm going to go ahead and we'll grab that because I'm all out of space. And we'll go ahead and put this into place. Actually, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and move this back over here. And I kind of hide that underneath my face there, just because when I'm playing on another server, I don't want to have people use bad language or something like that, and that end up in my video. So I found that's a creative and pretty effective way of doing that. Not enough space. Perfect. Let's go ahead and we'll build another storage stockpile. That's another thing that I've noticed, is that like getting into inventories, it loads in much faster. And I'm not sure if that's just because of the new computer, because they said that they were making some improvements to that, and so we should see some changes in that performance-wise moving forward. So I'm very much enjoying that. Let's see if that's finished now. I'm going to go ahead and pick that one up. So let's go ahead and grab this one, move that down to there. Okay, let's go ahead and perfect. So as you can see, if we go over here and we go into storage, you can see this is saying you can't pull from this. Now if I click this little button, it's going to say, yep, I can pull ingredients from here and craft them over here. And if I say click here, it's going to be able to go ahead and put those finished ones into this inventory. So I don't want them to go into my stockpile. We'll say, nope, you can't do that, and you can't go into here. And that'll keep stuff just moving into and out of this chest. So that's those linkable inventories. That's very nice that we can go ahead and do that. And we can also search and filter in here. So say we wanted to go beet. There we go, and it's only going to show those things that actually have beet related to them. And then of course we can consolidate to take up the least possible. There we go, and we can move everything all together so that it's all here. I'm going to go ahead and move that one as well. Very nice. That's going to make a whole bunch of changes possible as far as that goes. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing. Ooh, there's some of the volumetric effects there, the sunrise or sunset of the global illumination lighting. You can see some of the clouds are changing a little bit, and then the light box is kind of showing a little bit of a different color. So I'm very much liking that. I'm going to go ahead and jump into settings here quickly and just see what else I can change up a little bit. Mini map interface, bloom. We'll go ahead and turn that up a little bit. Like I said, I've got everything here, and I'm still getting 30 to 40 frames per second. Confirm. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn VSync off here, and we're going to target frame rate of 60. There we go. Oop. There we go, 60, perfect. And we'll go ahead and apply that. There we go. And kind of look around. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing a little FPS display, but yeah, it's definitely looking much nicer on this computer than it did previously. And I'm still recording here and getting plenty good frame rate. Everything's more or less nice and smooth. Yeah, I'm really liking both the new update and the new computer. Little notifications are popping up over here now when you pick things up, so that's an interesting bit. Let's go ahead and see what changes they've made to this. I'm going to go ahead and get let's do Campfire Cooking. Yep, we want to go ahead and learn that, and that's now allowed us to make some various different recipes here. Very good. So I'm going to go ahead and get into here. There we go. We can make some boiled grains. Let's make sure that it's got storage. Alright, so we're going to have to get a stone sickle. We'll go ahead and order one of those since we've got all the ingredients. And we'll be able to get some goodies going and really get started on making some delicious foods and leveling up our skills that much faster. One thing that I did notice is that they have not yet added in a slider. Ooh, that was interesting. To be able to change plant growth speed, so that when you're playing on a single player server, you can actually change that and see a bit of a change as far as the growth speed. So still waiting on that to be a thing, but that's still something that can be configured by getting into the eco files, of course. Go ahead and make some wood grains here. Storage. I would have thought I had a few more than that, just 5. Interesting. Alright, we'll go ahead and make 5 then. 5, there we go. And do the work. Perfect. So we'll start to see some of those beet campfire salads. Now that's another nice thing. These beet campfire salads have been changed, so it just needs greens, not beet. Beet greens specifically, which is going to make quite a difference because that was always a difficult thing to get the beet greens. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Fern campfire salads, we can make those now. I'm going to go ahead and make, well, let's go ahead and make like 6 of those. There we go, we'll do some work on that. Jungle campfire salads, we'd have to pick some of those up. Render fat now uses scrap meat instead of just normal meat, which means that you've got to have a butcher before we can do that. So that's a change. Definitely, that's going to have some knock-on effects, but we'll kind of see how all of that works out moving forward. Top to porridges, yeah, we'll be able to go ahead and make those pretty quickly. Yeah, so that's going to change Bannock's up a little bit. Campfire Cooking 4. This field Campfires 2 is Campfire Cooking 4 now. I feel like that's changed. I'm pretty sure that used to be a 3. I almost feel like they've rebalanced cooking a little bit so that there's a little bit, the progression of Campfire Cooking is a little bit more drawn out. And I'm sure that's probably the case with a lot of different skills that are going to require some various different other, further leveling up to be able to do those different skills. So that's going to be interesting to see how all of that plays out. There'll definitely be a little bit more progression on all of that. I'm going to go ahead and order 150 of these. Aha, advanced crafting. Okay, so that's changed from an advanced crafting. It's a hammer now instead of a gear. Just a little bit of a UI change there. Let's see what kind of food we have here. There we go, top porridge. We'll go ahead and grab one of those. And some charred fish. There we go. Try and bring our food score up a little bit. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how all of this changes. How the differences in the game and everything change. I'm very much liking the UI changes. And the added performance, of course, because that's, boy, it's really going really smoothly. Definitely, and I'm sure that's probably due to the new computer to some degree as well. But yeah, it's really nice and smooth now. So we'll have to see whether that's something that's common to all operating systems, or if it's just because we're running something really powerful now. There we go, so we've got another star. I'm going to go ahead and we'll put that into logging. There we go, yep, so that we can get some benefits from that. And that's going to wrap up today's video. There we go, so as you can see, I don't have access to that. We're going to go ahead and say, yep, you can pull out of and put into that one. That'll be good. Alright, well, thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Take care, and I will see all of you in the next video. Ta-ta.